Imagine this. You're back from break from college and you catch up with a few of your friends. You decide to go out for a few drinks to catch up. And before you know it, you become intoxicated. Now you're uncomfortable driving your car in this state, so what do? You hop in the car and you tell yourself, where do I want to go? I want to go home. Before you know it, the car takes you home and you're home safe sleeping in your bed. This may sound like science fiction, but in fact, it's becoming science fact. Self-driving cars are being funded by large corporations such as Google, Uber, Apple, and even Tesla. Now, today we'll be discussing the pros and cons of self-driving cars. Every member of this group is technologically savvy, and we've done our research on this subject, both inside and outside of the classroom. In fact, some of us have been following the subject for several years now. Now, as college students, this technology is going to be emerging within your lifetime. So I think that it's important that we all develop our own opinions of the technology based on the pros and cons that we present here today. Now, there are many points that we need to discuss, but just to preview a few of them, first and foremost, self-driving cars have the potential to reduce a large amount of traffic deaths.
Also, self-driving cars are not programmed to react in specific scenarios where accidents are highly likely or unavoidable.
Self-driving cars will vastly reduce the amount of traffic in highly populated areas such as cities.
Self-driving cars might not be legalized under the current legal framework.
Now, believe it or not, driving your car is one of the most dangerous things that you do on a daily basis. Now, according to global road crash. Okay. According to global road crash statistics, 1.3 million people die each year in roadside accidents. Now, most of these accidents can be attributed to driver error, and self-driving cars eliminate this factor entirely. That's because computers don't get tired, they don't get distracted. When you go with a computer, although it may sound scary, you're going with consistency. Now, self-driving cars, according to Jack Bolin of the Yale Journal of Science and Technology, can drive for millions of miles without encountering any kind of traffic incident. Now, that's much better than anyone could say for human drivers who encounter an accident every 150,000 miles on average, according to Emily Silverman and Sabine Glass of the University of California Press.
Even though self-driving cars can eliminate a considerable amount of traffic deaths, they are still not 100% safe. In the July 2016 issue of Ethical and Moral Practice, Sven Nylom and Jill Smids mentioned that self-driving cars are not 100% safe. And this is because cars drive at high speed in the midst of unpredictable pedestrians, bicyclists, and human drivers. And also that cars should be programmed to behave differently where accidents are more likely to occur. Yang and Coughlin point out in their 2014 article in Vehicle Technology for Self-Driving Cars that a self-driving car will drive at full speed if they do not know the area is unsafe. Also, Olivia Solon, in her article Why Self-Driving Cars Aren't Safe, explains that autonomous cars are unable to predict urban conditions like an unmarked lane, heavy roadwork, which is pretty much another way of saying an average city commute. This raises questions about self-driving cars and their preset priorities. This will lead me to point out that autonomous cars should be programmed in situations where an accident is unavoidable. In the 2015 article, How to Self-Driving Cars Make Ethical Decisions, author Will Knight explained that cars should be programmed how to crash. And if a crash is unavoidable, that the self-driving car has to pick an ethical decision. For example, if a car has to choose whether to crash into a truck and kill its passengers or swerve into the sidewalk and kill a dozen of civilians, how is it going to choose what the right decision is? So this leads me to raise questions so this may raise questions on, will self-driving cars ever be safe?
Now, I think that it's important that we note that self-driving cars and autonomous vehicles in general are a technology that is still developing by anyone's standards. But that being said, Tesla and Google have both been able to design cars that have been able to drive for millions of miles without encountering any kind of incident on the road that can be attributed to their actions. So if we can refine this technology even further, then who knows how safe these cars can get. I think that the potential for these cars greatly outweighs any kind of, philosophical scenario that you may be able to put and construct within your own mind. These cars really do have great potential, and I think that they're worth pursuing.
Building off, see that as technology progresses for these autonomous cars, the more benefits they will bring. One of these benefits is that it will reduce traffic vastly in highly populated areas such as cities. In an article I found published by Roman Zakharenko, he states that autonomous vehicles are modeled, calibrated, and analyzed to be as efficient as possible. They are connected and relay information to each other so that it will lessen traffic. In another article I found by Alireza Tador and Hani Mamasini, connected vehicles will provide real-time information.
So let's do that from the beginning because we're all laughing. All right.
Like, why do you always laugh when I go?
The author part. All right, if I get a straight face.
The first one or second one?
I don't know where you Hani Mamasini part.
Dude, I don't think they're gonna be able to edit everyone's faces on the bottom.
I'll figure it out, dude. I mean, if anything, we'll do another run.
I think this is a practice call.
Yes.
Alireza Talabor and Hani Mamasini. Why is that funny? Alireza Talabor and Hani Mamasini.
Just make up a name, dude.
Sorry, Wayne.
You can't say Honey
Okay, try again.
Alireza Talabor. Shut the fuck up, it's not that funny. Alireza Talabor and Hani Mamasini state that connected vehicles will provide real-time information. They will connect with each other and be able to find the best possible route for the vehicle to travel to reduce traffic and in turn reduce accidents in the roadways.
Relying on self-driving car to improve traffic situations and avoid accidents is in ideal case built purely upon theory. In real life, the road situations is always more complicated than theory can predict. The self-driving car companies claim that there have not yet been any accidents in their test. However, there has been an accident involving these technologies and has taken a man's life. Reported on New York Times in July 2016, a driver was killed in an accident in northern Florida while driving a Tesla Model S. The car crashed straight into a trailer turning left at an intersection on a highway without stopping. The car has an emergency braking system installed that is meant to check the dangerous close-by objects. However, the system possibly failed to distinguish the sky and the trailer in this accident. Can technology react to all possible situations? Tesla claimed that their Model S autopilot car is not a hands-free driving car, and drivers are still responsible for the driving. However, this car being equipped with collision warning and driven by a human driver was still not able to avoid the accidents. How can we trust that a car fully driven by itself can get us safely from place to place? In addition to the technical details that we need to worry about before we put self-driving car on the road, there are many more things that we need to consider. such as the regulation and law on self-driving vehicles. The biggest question in law about self-driving cars is the liability. When a self-driving car is involved in an accident, it makes sense that manufacturers should be responsible since there's not really a driver in the car. However, this is far more complicated than just putting all the brains on the company when something goes wrong. Self-driving car deals with unexpected events using complicated pre-programmed systems. How it actually reacts to accidents depends on the calculated result that we might not expect. A news article on the Bloomberg website discussed a scenario. Should an autonomous vehicle sacrifice its occupant by swerving off a cliff to avoid killing a school bus full of children? On one hand, no one wants to sit in a car that has the possibility to kill the owner. On the other hand, should the law even allow the car to make such a decision? As we can see, liability is an unavoidable issue that self-driving car companies need to deal with. And this might be discouraging for companies to continue improving their products. The paper, Autonomous Vehicle Regulation, How an Uncertain Legal Landscape Might Hit the Brake on Self-Driving Cars, points out the problem with an example of the biotechnology companies. In the United States biotechnology industry, lawsuits for product liability increases by 813% between 1980 and 1988. The International Trade Administration has identified the product liability law is a severe barrier for innovation in the biotechnology. Many drug companies are hesitant to produce new vaccines and potentially safer vaccines because of the sheer number of lawsuits that erupt when those new products were released. When self-driving cars are out in the market, the car companies will need to deal with the same liability challenge. Have self-driving car companies thought about this problem? Will they eventually back off and stop producing self-driving cars? There are some big questions that self-driving car researchers might not have think of. With the current legal framework, there are many problems that need to be solved before self-driving cars should be legally allowed on the road. Therefore, self-driving cars are still a far in the future concept.
Autonomous vehicles are already on the road. And with more of them being put in, more legislation will be put in place so that they will probably have liability on the driver or the manufacturer that produces it. In one article I found by Doug Newcomb, he said that no doubt self-driving cars are coming and will be connected, will reduce accidents highly, and will be connected so that once one accident happens, they will all be triggered to build off of each other and become stronger. This is awful. We have to redo this. I need my speaking outline. This is a lot worse.
Yeah, we do have to do it again. This is practice. Keep going.
Another reason why legislation will become about is because in an article I found by Ryan DeRusso says that self-driving cars are turning around the marketplace around automobiles. And we all know that economy triggers most changes that happen in our government. In a study done, it was found that a 7.8% increase in the last year has come from self-driving vehicles, while regular normal vehicles have dropped drastically since 2015. I think it's safe to say that in the future, more changes will take place and laws will come about as this becomes more popular, because there's no denying that this is the new way of the future in driving. In conclusion, we talked about two pros for self-driving cars and two cons. The pros were that it could help reduce traffic deaths and traffic in general. The cons were that not all cars, they might not be programmed to react to all situations, and that self-driving cars may not be legalized under the current legal framework. We're going to leave you guys with this. Whether you are for or against self-driving cars, you are sure to see them make an appearance at some point in your lifetime in the near future. They have already started the discussion regarding decision-making, artificial intelligence, and human life. So do your research now, because the next car you may buy might be an autonomous one. Thank you guys. Goodbye.